Our German guest, the Jensen family, joined us from Stuttgart, Germany and arrived in New Delhi to join our group. The members of our group were Marcus, Claudia, Philip, Doreen, my wife Suman, and the evergreen Mr. Gupta. After flying north from Delhi and crossing the plains of North India, we could see the mighty Himalayas in the distance. Flying over the Himalayas and seeing the breathtaking view of snow-capped mountains passing below from the warm and cozy seat of Jet Airways was simply spectacular. Our tour started from New Delhi and the very early morning flight to Leh was by Jet Airways. The flight took off at 5:30 in the morning and we had the opportunity to see the fascinating sunrise from our flight. After crossing the Himalayas, our flight was flying over the Ladakh valley. It was thrilling for all of us to see the moon landscape of the Tibetan plateau. We could see the mighty Indus River flowing calmly below us. The Leh city was visible in the far distance from the window and we were soon to land at our destination. Leh, the mystic capital of Ladakh, situated at 3,500 meters, was to be our home for the next 6 days. We arrived at Hotel Kal to a traditional Ladakhi welcome and very much appreciated by all of us.
Hallo daheim.
Slowly we could feel the effect of high altitude and lack of oxygen, but thanks to Mr. Gupta who kept our spirits alive.
Yeah, tea, coffee, what do you want to have?
In order to get acclimatized to the high altitude weather, we were advised to take complete rest for next 24 hours, and we ended spending the day relaxing and planning for the trip ahead. The Hotel Kal is more of a temple than a hotel. With a very friendly and the welcoming staff members, our stay was to be a memorable experience. Hotel Kal is a cozy and homely hotel situated in the outskirts of Leh town with a rural surroundings. The hotel has all the amenities for its guests. Mr. Gupta was enjoying the crisp Ladakhi morning sun. Marcus and Philip too seemed in a high spirit after their long journey from Stuttgart.
Sind wir abfahrtbereit zu unserem Trip in die Monastery und in den Königspalast. Da stehen 2 Geländewagen für uns und wir fahren jetzt noch gleich los. Zu siebt. Und die 3 Fahrer und Begleiter, die uns begleiten, und dann kommt noch ein Reiseleiter dazu. Okay. So, jetzt geht's los.
Soon all of us were ready to visit the different monasteries around Leh. Our drive was through the beautiful outskirts of Leh town. The sparse vegetation and the imposing moonland was new experience to all of us.
So, Kopf hoch.
Laufe!
Und was? Geht's seitwärts, Philipp? Philipp! Also ruhig jetzt. Später. Danke, Lab.
Marcus, Claudia, Philip and Doreen were enjoying the Ladakhi terrain and the weather. On our way to the Stoke Palace, all of us decided to stop and take pictures of the beautiful landscape and mountains. The weather becoming more windy as time passed and the overcast sky made us feel a bit uncomfortable. The vast barren mountainside had sprinkling of white stupas. Our first stop was to be the Stoke Palace and Museum. We reached Stoke Palace, which is around 14 km from Leh city.
Kommen wir jetzt rein und gehen jetzt in die Räume vom früheren Königspalast, wo heute Museum ist. Jetzt lassen wir uns überraschen, was wir dort sehen.
The palace was built by King Sepal Namgyal in 1825 and is still the residence of the present royal family. The Palace Museum has on display fabulous period costumes and jewellery of the royal family along with thankas representing the life of Muni Buddha. The museum houses the ancient headdress which originated in Tibet. This headdress is encrusted with turquoise, coral, lapis lazuli and nuggets of pure gold. The Jensen family were spellbounded to see the view from the palace balcony of the green paddy field and mighty Indus flowing in the background with the Tibetan prayer flag fluttering in the wind. Our next stop was Thikse Monastery. Thikse is a series of stupas constructed over many years at various times and heights. The monastery is 12-storied and is painted in deep shades of red ochre and white. The complex has 10 temples and accommodation for 60 lamas who reside here and learn the holy scriptures. Thikse has a pillar inscribed with the teachings of Lord Buddha. This is the best place to watch religious ceremonies and get an insight into Ladakhi culture.
Your brother also want one.
Sag noch eins. One more.
One more, please.
Du kannst es. Der hat von mir gehört.
On the way, Marcus and Claudia decided to stop and experience the Ladakhi landscape.
Vorhin sich jetzt die Ebene und der Fluss hinter uns.
Das war jetzt sehr anstrengend, ich bin zum Bergbestieg und der Schnee runter.
Sag das einmal, Philipp. Das ist eine Kürze in der Hand. Sehr schön hier in der Luft. Kopfdruck.
Our next stop was Hemis Monastery. We arrived at Hemis Monastery, which was a bit crowded with tourists and cars of all descriptions. Situated on the west bank of Indus and about 45 km from Leh is the Hemis Gompa. Built around 17th century and known as Chang Chub Sam Ling, the Gompa is largest and richest in Ladakh. The major festival held here in summer is in honor of Lord Buddha Guru Padmasambha birth anniversary.
Is het draaien? Draaien? Philipp, nicht nachgegangen. Draaien heißt hören.
Ja, look here.
The verandas have a number of frescoes, among them the Buddhist wheel of life, the Kal Chakra, besides row of prayer wheels. The third day was the day of travelling to the highest motorable road and crossing the Khardungla Pass, the pass connecting the Leh Valley in the south and Nubra Valley to the north. We occasionally stopped at various military checkposts that were keeping tab of our journey. The Hindu temple with various gods and goddesses was worshipped by all the travellers travelling the treacherous Ladakhi road.
Sag viele Grüße für daheim, Philipp. Für alle viele Grüße daheim.
Jetzt sind
Wir sind auf einem ganz hohen Punkt.
kurz unter der
Hier militärisch
Schneegrenze.
kontrolliert. Viele Soldaten sind hier. Luft ist ganz dünn, schwer zum Atmen.
Die Schneegrenze ist super. Bei circa, was sind das, 6000 Meter?
Ja,
Nee, ja.
knapp 6000
Knapp
Meter.
6000 Meter.
Viele Soldaten da oben. Let's show the soldiers Video. Ja, let's show the soldiers. Hier.
Jetzt.
Hi, höchste Straße der Welt. 18.380 Fuß.
Marcus was excited, having reached 18,380 feet and the highest motorable road. Suman was having tough time walking due to lack of oxygen at 18,000 feet. The military police were taking time checking our papers, and this gave us enough opportunity to explore the surroundings. The occasional snowfall and high altitude air with bitter cold was starting to show its effect on all of us.